Hi guys, Dave Fader here. I'm going to show you the method that I use to keep my nails strong for playing guitar. I've tried a lot of things over the past, I don't know, 25, 30 years. And I've tried acrylics, I've tried stick-on nails, I've tried finger picks. And this particular method that I'm going to show you is a little less toxic than acrylics. It doesn't really hurt your nails. My nails, when I pull these nails off, when these coatings come off, my nails are in pretty good shape. But I'm going to show you how I do it. I'll show you the products that I use so that you can do it yourself if you want. This is my workbench, and this is where I usually do my nails. I originally got a kit from a guy named Carlos Juan, and to do UV gel nails, but I've changed all the products in it, but it's still basically the same kind of thing. What I use is I use a file, and I have to tell you that these nails don't look gross. They look like real fingernails. See, there's my regular nails. See, they don't look bad at all. But anyway, all I do is, if the nail comes off, it's the same thing as whether the nail doesn't come off. I file the parts where the nail's grown out a little bit. And mind you, I used to have a nail technician do this, and it cost me about 30 bucks a shot. But I'll file off. I'm just going to do the thumbnail, but it works the same on all the different nails. But this nail's big so you can see. I file the outer layer of nail off a little bit. I also have this little, who makes this? Vogue, little USB chargeable grinder, which works too, and it's very light, like you can stop it with your fingers. And I can use this to, if the job needs a little more, fast filing, and I can use this to take the ridge off. And I've gotten good at using my left hand. And I used to watch the people that would do my nails, and basically that's the way they do it. They hold on to your hand with the fingers, and you use that as a guide. You can even just move this finger along if you want to. And then once you get everything the way you want it, you can just kind of rough up the outside. If you're starting from scratch, you want to make sure that you have no old nail on your hand. See, and I'm going to do this. Make sure it's relatively smooth. Most of the new gel builders that I'm going to show you are self-leveling, meaning that if you have a little low spot when you put it on, it will fix itself. Okay, so I'm going to take the nail file and just make sure everything is right. You can look for a consistent color in the nail to make sure everything is, all the glossy stuff is off from the last application. And you can, I don't know if you can see, but down here is regular nail. And up here is the UV gel that I use. The more UV gel you put on, the more solid the tone is going to be. And you can adjust your tone by how many levels you put on here. So I'll show you what I use. I use Kim wipes. I use a little 99% alcohol. It's in this bottle, nothing special. This is a little UV light that I use when I'm practicing for curing, and you just turn it on. This is a little light, and runs on batteries. This one's great for when especially when you're traveling overseas, fits in your luggage. I use a little brush to take the powder off when I'm done. Okay. I have a few other tools, and I'll explain how they work in a minute. This is the best one I found so far is IBD. It's the primer. It's LED UV bonder, and what it does is it will prime your nail so that the UV gel will stick on there. And it's a really good product. It's not as stinky as the old stuff I used to use, which was really, it was volatile and it smelled bad. I always have ventilation anyway when I'm doing this. I've done this in bus stops and hotel rooms, but generally Starbucks. I've generally tried to do it outside. I also have a big UV light that I use at home, and I can put my whole hand in here. And you know, these things are about 20 bucks. This is by Melody Susie. It's a nice one. And it's got a timer on the back. I usually time it for 180 seconds, right? That's 3 minutes. But you don't need a full 3 minutes on the bonder. All the bonders are different. Just read how long they're going to need. And then I use this stuff, which is the IBD, they call it builder gel, and it's clear, just so it looks like your nail. This one's almost empty. They come in different sizes. I don't like to open them until I need them, though, but this is the size that I travel with. Then I have a few little paint brushes, and I have different sizes of paint brushes, and I try to clip them and keep them small. I'll show you how to use those in a second. And this is a little stick that I just use if I slop too much on the wrong place. I can use this because you don't want the gel to be in the cuticle. I'll show you that in a minute. Because if it's in the cuticle, the oil from your skin will eventually get under the nail and lift it up. My nails last me about 3 or 4 weeks before I can take them off, and they just fall off, when they're done. So I just washed this. I just ground this nail, filed it so that it's all a uniform kind of color. If the nail had fallen off, I would have done the same thing to my natural nail. And then what I'm going to do, oh, by the way, they make all different kinds of UV lights. Here's another one I got, and this one's pretty slick. This one is called a lavender violet. It's all LED. And this one you just stick here, charge it with the USB, and you stick your hand underneath it. All these, they all do the same thing. The LED ones that use batteries, are might take a little longer, or you're just going to use batteries. So anyway, so the IBD, the bonder, take it, and I'm just going to coat my nail with it. Hope you can see this. It's not a big deal. And I'm trying not to get it on my skin because I really don't want that stuff to stick to my skin. So it's nice and bright. Now normally I do all my nails and fix all the little divots, but this is just for demonstration. But I do the same thing to these 3 nails, and you can see they're in pretty good shape right now. And I'll show you also in another video how to fix a broken nail, like if your nail's ripped off or something. There's a really easy way to fix it, and you don't need to use any kind of false pieces of fingernail and things like that, ping pong balls. You don't need to do that. There's a way easier way. So now I'm just going to take this, I'm going to stick it in here, press the button. It's already got a timer. I have a little timer for when I'm on the road, or I use my phone set to 3 minutes. And I'm just going to leave this in here. I'll edit the 3 minutes out on the video. I'm going to shut this one off. Okay, I'm back. So I let this sit under the UV light. Now this particular one says you only need to keep it under the LED for 30 seconds or for 1 minute under a regular UV lamp. But just read the directions. I mean, it's not rocket science. Okay, so the next thing I do is I take some of this stuff, which is the IBD builder gel. It's a little sticky because I got junk all over it. And this little kit that I have here has traveled around the world more than once. So taking a little brush, and I just kind of shape the brush so that it works well for my nails. And you can pretty much use any kind of a flat paintbrush. And I'm just taking a little bit of this gel. This is builder gel, so it's really kind of thick. And I'm just going to brush it on. And the first coating that you do of this, if it's on a bare nail, you want it to be very thin. And then after that first coating, it can be any thickness you want. I mean, the thing is if it's really thick, while it's curing under the light, it'll get hot. And that could be uncomfortable. Okay, so that's all I did, is I put a little coating on there. There's probably 4 coats on this thumbnail, You can see it's relatively thick. Can you see that? And it sounds awesome. So I'm going to put this one in here. Now I'm going to cure this one for 3 minutes. Okay, I'll be right back. Okay, we're back. Now, when the nail comes out after your first coat, or after any coat, it's going to be a little sticky. This stuff sweats. So what you do is you take a little bit of this 99% alcohol, get it at the drugstore, although during COVID it's a little harder to get, but you can use 70, it'll work fine. Rubbing alcohol is the thing. And then, so now I don't know if you can see, but there's a little bit on the edges. And the way you get the edges fixed is you just take your nail file, right? Do this, right? And I'm just taking a little bit off the edges that happen to get underneath. Now, as you get better at it, you'll have less goo. I used to get goo that would get underneath there, and I'd have to, file it out, and it was a pain in the butt, and it would catch the string. But what I'm doing is I'm just shaping the nail. Everybody shapes their nail differently. Right now I'm playing a lot of flamenco stuff, so I'm shaping my nail so I can do my alzapua. But the thicker you shape it, the more you could make it a rounded edge like a pick. You want it to sound like Pat Metheny, make it big and fat. You want to make it sound like, a classical guitar player, maybe not so big and fat. I like them a little beefy, and these fingers, notice they're not really long. They're just at the point so that when I play a string, I get a little flesh and a little nail. And if I change the angle of my hand, I can get pretty much any tone that I want. So I washed it with this stuff. I can reshape it with the file when I'm done. And that's about it. If this was the first coat, I would then put a thicker coat on there and do it again. You do it until you get a tone that you like. It's all about tone. Let me show you these products one more time. This is just regular rubbing alcohol. I use 99%. Any UV lamp will work. LED or this kind, which is fluorescent. It's got a little fluorescent tube. These little fluorescent tubes, literally, they're $1. See this? And they last forever. I'll have a link on my post where you can get these products. They're really easy. Little brush. Any little brush will do. You don't have to have a special one. Little stick, You can buy these at nail supply, or you can just make your own. Paintbrushes. These are IBD brushes. You could use a regular paintbrush. The reason I like the gel brush by IBD is because it's a particular kind of thickness and it cleans really well. And speaking of cleaning, this is the way I clean. You take a little piece of Kim wipe. These are Kim wipes. Right? Whoops, it's backwards, but you take the Kim wipe and you can use a paper towel if you want, and you wipe the excess off, and then you just take a little bit of alcohol and make a little puddle. You don't want to waste it. And sometimes what I'll do when I'm feeling like I have a lot of alcohol is I'll put the alcohol in the top of this bottle here, and I'll soak the brush like this, right? And that dissolves all of this raw gel builder, and then I let the brush dry. You gotta clean the brushes or you'll go through brushes really fast. You don't want to do that, and you always close this stuff afterwards. This stuff will dry under regular light, it just takes longer. So you don't want to leave it open for too long. And obviously you don't want to be smoking cigarettes or anything else while you're doing this, because all this stuff's flammable. So great. If you have any questions, I do have my favorite nail files. I have my favorite stuff that I use, but you can use anything that you find that suits your purposes. This is my workbench, so you see a lot of other tools. I have electronics and things that I repair, but yeah, this little kit that I have here fits in my luggage, and sometimes I don't even bring the kit. I just bring my stuff and I throw it in a little I can throw it in a Chivas Regal bag, and throw it in my suitcase. Really, it's not a big deal. You don't need to pay a nail tech $30 to do your nails, and you can adjust them exactly the way you want. It takes a little bit of practice to be able to do, you know, to do the nails the way you want. I love my little grinder because it makes things happen faster. You just have to get used to it so you don't hurt yourself. This one's really safe, and I'll put a link to all this stuff. And if you have any questions, let me know. So, and look, they look just like real nails. They're not ugly. Susie and I were remarking the other day how when we go overseas sometimes to these international guitar fingerstyle festivals, and a lot of the musicians have these nails that just look disgusting, look like globs, you know, and it's just, they don't have to. They can look really nice. You can go out in public and still be a guitar player. All right, peace out. See you next time.